protest is about something else other than what he says it is about, that we devalue the cry of Black and brown people, that Black lives matter. And so I give a call to not pass this resolution. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Santos. Versus everybody else, I'm not a resident of North Smithfield. I'm here from Providence. I live in 61 Julia Street, Providence, Rhode Island. I'm an immigrant, born and raised out of the country, the Dominican Republic. But I love this country that welcomed me with open arms. And I'm the mother of two kids. One is a college student and another one is a senior in high school. And I also feel that I may be the mother, the aunt, you name it, of many other kids in the community. And it really pains me, the message that we are sending our kids nowadays. I'm also, and so to demystify belief that may be out there, I'm the daughter of a former policeman back in my home country. So I respect very much enforcement and the individuals that work in enforcement agencies. But this is not about that. I can go on and on and on about my heart and how I feel and the divisiveness that we are facing as a country. I love the state, and while this is happening in North Smithfield, I don't want any precedents to be set within the state that I love very much. And And if I put my feelings aside, I have to tell you that no one have any business deciding any procurement process and how a city or town uses the funds that belong to the people. And that's pure good governance and good government. And so if I have to appeal to the heart, I have enough ammunition, no pun intended, on how demonstrating that this is bad government. It is bad government because it's dividing people with no real reason. It is bad government because it's pretending that as an elected body, you have the right to use public dollars to defend your personal views. As people have said, you can do whatever you do in your private life. You can spend your monies in the products, in the market, as you choose so, but no one has the right to steer public procurement processes. Again, this is about dividing. This is about a hate rhetoric that we need to stop. We need to stop for the future of our communities, for the future of the state, and for the future of the country. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Roberts, 49 East Street, North Smithfield. I've been spending the last week trying to read materials related to the hearing of the comprehensive plan, and didn't prepare formal remarks for this part of the meeting. but when I heard about this agenda item, I knew that I had to speak about it. I'm speaking from a perspective that actually is interconnected with the deeply held issue around community engagement and respect of the dignity of people. And the reason I came here tonight is to ask the town council to please have more authentic engagement with the residents around our comprehensive plan. And that's related to sort of zoomed out issues that are about power and about sharing power. So I work as a public health evaluator, I'm a behavioral scientist, and I work on community and state level strategies that address violence and preventing violence before it starts. And it's funded by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And one of those strategies at the coalition where I work, the Coalition Against Domestic Violence, is on fighting racism. So all this stuff is interrelated. And it's really hard for white people to talk about racism because we get really defensive. But sorry, I'm going to back up a little bit and just say that I'm here as an aspiring white ally to do my role as a white person to dismantle white supremacy culture, and that's another really hard thing for white people to hear. When they hear white supremacy culture, they think about the KKK and hoods. I'm not talking about that. We live in a town that has upwards of 96% white people in this town, so we're used to things being by and for white people, but we live in a more diverse world and community, and we want to reflect certain values to our children. We want nonviolent communities, but actually racism and other isms like sexism, heterosexism, and classism, other isms hold the pecking order together and keep people out of having power and sharing power. So my large reason for being here tonight is to ask the town council to please try and create a culture in our town where we share power better. And real community engagement means looking at documents together, not having a hearing where you can only speak according to Robert's rules. And I am a co-convener of a group in North Smithfield called Engage North Smithfield. We started it over a year ago. There's about 210 people on our Facebook group, and we've been meeting since January of 2018 to promote social cohesion. And it's nonpartisan. It's not based on any political party. It's based on social cohesion makes communities more resilient. And even in Rhode Island, as we plan for disaster planning, promoting social cohesion is a way to make communities stronger. So we need to come together, and I'll finish by saying in the spirit of right relationship, because I'm trying to learn how to be self-reflective and be in relationship with the people around me, that I really appreciate the volunteer work that the board does. I'm a former planning board member, and I believe that people have good hearts in this room. I just think we need to work together to go to our higher aspirations and hold each other more accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I applaud this town council for bringing this forward, because there's a lot of this issue that is misunderstood, and the people here and other towns need to realize that this is not about race. This is not about freedom of speech. This is about teaching children about who is a role model. Nike is a for-profit company. Why are beer companies not allowed to market to young people? Because they're easily influenced. Why are smoking companies not allowed cigarettes to advertise anymore? How many people here have their children wasting their time on video games like Call of Duty and things like that? Let's talk about role models. Let's talk about sacrifice. Colin Kaepernick associated with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization that advocates for violence. You can do me if you want. Violence towards law enforcement. That's what it's about.
Hold on. Hey, sit down. Listen, I gave everybody up here all the time they wanted. Everybody got to speak. All right, nobody was interrupted. Show this gentleman the same respect that you were given when you got up here and spoke. Whether you agree with him or not, let him talk.
I'm not toning down anything.
Let him talk.
Let's talk about role models. You want to talk about role models? This conversation in schools, towns, parents should be, who is a role model? Let's talk about sacrifice that he talks about. How about law enforcement? That every time they leave the house, that they are in danger of losing their life. Let's talk about soldiers overseas. That's sacrifice. Those are role models. Martin Luther King was a role model. Rappers are not role models. Rock stars are not role models. Athletes beating up their wives and girlfriends and getting drunk on drugs. Those are not role models. We're talking about role models. This is a for-profit company. That's what this is about. Marketing to children. This whole advertisement, this town has a chance tonight to set a tone and send a message to other towns. And he should be explained. Colin Kaepernick is not a hero. He is not brave. He is a coward. That is the national anthem. Those boys that are on the beaches of Normandy, that is sacrifice. Those are role models. Single parents are role models. Soldiers, teachers are role models. Overpaid athletes playing the games of children are not role models. I know about loss. I know about sacrifice. An uncle I never knew was killed in Korea. My grandfather was a police officer. My father served in World War II. Children are lost as to who a role model is. Hollywood are not role models. This is what we're talking about. Saying to a 15, 16, 17-year-old child, look at Colin Kaepernick. He's standing for something, for a cause. Are the school shooters, are they heroes? Are they cool? In some demented minds there are. You say it with God. Some of the school shooters have said they've been copycats of what happened with Columbine. Now we all know, we can point out, of course they're not. They're horrible, they're killers, they're demented. But he is not a role model in any way. Nike is a for-profit company. This town, other towns, have an opportunity. Don't think, this isn't a public service announcement. This isn't him kneeling on the sideline. This is him making money and a group of people in corporations with Nike sitting in a conference room saying, how can we get profits up? And let's go with Colin Kaepernick. Let's be very clear, the adults, what this is about. When they have attractive people smoking, when the beer commercials are all funny. Why do you think they are? And then we hear about the teen drinking and the teen drugs. So let's not fool ourselves about marketing of a huge billion-dollar corporation like Nike. And that's what they saw this as, a business opportunity. So if you want to pretend it's about race, if you want to pretend it's about freedom of speech, you want to pretend you want more diversity in community, it's not about that. This is about explaining to young minds who truly is someone you should admire. I admire police. They're brave. They sacrifice.
So don't we.
You can't have it both ways. I admire soldiers and members of the military.
Listen, we're not going to have public outbursts, okay? Give him the same respect that everybody that you got when you were up there. I know it's 2 minutes, but you think everybody else was held 2 minutes?
I gave plenty of respect. I sat in silence as I listened to a lot of this myth and focusing on it.
All right, wrap it up.
Now, I just want people to remember, the adults. Rolling Stone magazine bought one of the Boston Bombers on the cover of the magazine. It made him look like a young Jim Morrison. Was that cool? Was that their freedom of speech? That was horrific. That was someone that placed a bomb next to an 8-year-old child. And why was it done? For marketing. Don't ever think it's not about profit. He wants to kneel on the sideline, that's his business. That's the business of the NFL. But we're talking about marketing campaign towards children. If you want to find it, if you want to teach your children, boy, there's someone with courage. There's someone with sacrifice. Boy, there is someone we should all look up to. Then you can do that, but not me. To me, it is the single parents, it is the police, it is the member of the military. It's people that truly sacrifice for a cause. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to regret this, but is there anybody else out there who didn't have a chance to sign the sheet that would like to get up and speak? Come on up. Hold on, one at a time. One at a time.
Hi, my name is Tasha Gahagan. I live at 251 Old Oxford Road in Smithfield. My family and I moved here 3 years ago from Providence. I have, my son is in 8th grade here at the middle school. My daughter's in 11th. We were excited about moving to North Smithfield. We were excited about the community, the schools. And I have to say, everyone was very welcoming. I loved this community. And you, sir, have completely changed that. I can't believe how an official would want the decisiveness in the school with our children, how you would want to put a divide between the police and young children. This is your personal opinion. You don't like Nike, put pen to paper. Let Nike know, hey, I'm sad, I don't like what you're doing. But to put this on a town, to say that the town feels this way, I can't believe that. I mean, you have a child in middle school. I can't believe that a parent would want to put this on the children. You know, my son got done with soccer practice. He got in the car. He was so excited. His peers nominated him to be the captain of the soccer team. He was so excited. And then one of his friends sent him a Snapchat of a meme of North Smithfield banning Nike products. And then I had to explain to him that you, sir, you alone have decided that you don't like Nike, that you don't like Colin Kaepernick. So guess what? North Smithfield doesn't like Nike. It actually really makes me sad. It makes me sad that someone would have so much hate in their heart. You know, I mean, I stand with the police. I support the police. There is a problem. You can be both sides. I mean, you know, I hate public speaking and I wasn't going to do it. I kind of wish you didn't say if anyone had anything to say because I wanted to come up here. But I have to say, I'm very sad, and you should feel personally responsible for making people feel bad, for making a 13-year-old boy feel like he did something wrong because he has a Nike t-shirt on. The first question that he said was, does that mean that the cops think that I'm against the cops? I mean, disgusting. Disgusting.
Good afternoon. My name is Julia Jordan Zachary, and I'm not from North Smithfield. I'm from a couple towns over in North Providence. But I was drawn to come here tonight because I am a student of politics. My degree is in political science. But I'm also very fascinated around rhetoric and the use of rhetoric. And so why I came here tonight is the rhetoric around this proposition. And I'm not going to stand here and suggest anything about what the town should or shouldn't do. But I want to encourage all of you to think carefully about the rhetoric being used, right? And the implications for the rhetoric, and the long-standing power of words, because words matter, right? Words matter. Words can hurt in ways that we can't even imagine. That physical violence doesn't hurt. And so when we choose to frame things in a particular way, we have to really stop and think about what is the damage being done by these words. And do we want to have a legacy of framing an issue in a particular way? So I could care less, honestly, as a black woman, whether or not people support Kaepernick or not. But what really concerns me is the language. And if, as a town council, The role, if I understand the role of a town council, is to represent a large majority as possible, all of the residents of your town. I ask you to think about the rhetoric used in this proposal and ask yourself, who are you excluding? And is there a value of excluding certain people, right? What is the larger purpose of this? Because the larger purpose of this, based on the rhetoric, the analysis of the rhetoric, is not necessarily about Nike, okay? It's not about policing. It's about sending a message about who can be involved in this town. Right? Yeah, you might not
I don't believe it. I am sorry. I cannot sit here. Many of you know me.
No,
And
I'm not.
let me
This is
just
not
say this.
personal.
Give her 2
Sit
minutes.
down.
Give her 2 minutes. Give her 2 minutes.
Ma'am, this is not personal. As I stated when I stood here, I don't know any of you. This is honestly not personal. What I'm suggesting to you is that there is power in words,
Absolutely.
right? That's all I'm suggesting. There is power in words. And we have a responsibility to think very carefully about the words that we're using, and we have to ask ourselves a very basic question. Who are our words including, or who are our words excluding? And then once we ask that question, we need to ask the other question of why would we use certain rhetoric? What is the purpose? What is the exercise of power? So this is not a personal indictment. All I'm asking us to critically think about, and I say us because I live in Rhode Island, is why a particular rhetoric? Thank you.
Thank you. You wanted to come up, right? Did you?
Yes.
All right, that's gonna be it though, okay? Just the two of you, then we're gonna wrap this up.
Go ahead.
Thanks. You know,